Colin had a problem and a microphone to spare. Thomas took it up and so the podcast went to air. For weeks and months they trolled through every single DVD. They've unwrapped all the ones they can and now they're cellulose free. Now they're cellulose free.
Hello dear listener and welcome to Cellulose Free. My name is Colin and with me as always is my fellow film watcher, compadre and son Thomas.
Hi, hello.
What have you been up to?
It's been a bit of a mixed bag of a week, really.
Has it?
Yeah.
I am absolutely clueless as to how that bag has been mixed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not entirely.
No. So they announced the first expansion for Forza Horizon 5, and it's Hot Wheels again.
Again?
After they did it in Forza Horizon 3, they intend to do it bigger and better, and again. This time hovering over Mexico.
Right.
For reasons known only to Playground Games.
Right, okay. Hovering.
Yep.
So if you are to come off one of the Hot Wheels tracks, you plummet to your death.
Well, it's land that's hovering over Mexico.
Right.
I suspect it won't cast a shadow.
Whereas in Forza Horizon 3, it was a separate island, wasn't
just over there somewhere, off the coast of Australia.
Could you see it?
If you could, it was very small and way off in the distance.
Yeah. Okay. So will you be able to see this one?
I'm expecting no.
Oh, okay.
No. So that was one thing.
Okay.
Neil Patrick Harris in Doctor Who?
Indeed.
What?
He's meant to be playing the baddest villain the Doctor has ever seen.
In the...
Or something.
The BBC celebration? Or no, the 60th celebration, which is coming once Russell T Davies is on board. Yes?
I think so.
Yes.
I've sort of lost a bit of touch with... Mind you, the images that I've seen of him in some type of costume, he looks very much like the second Doctor in a lot of ways, so I reckon he could play a pretty good Patrick Troughton.
Right.
But
well, I'm getting Count Olaf vibes, but that's just because I've seen a lot of him in a series of unfortunate events.
Yes.
So yeah,
he did a good job of that.
We've got the BBC Centennial special sometime between now and the end of the year, and then Russell T Davies takes over...
Centennial special?
Yes, the Centennial of the BBC.
Of the Beeb, yes. Okay, because they were radioing before they were televisioning.
Which is also how the ABC is having its 90th anniversary this year. So, and then Russell T Davies comes in with... can't remember his name.
No, I can't either.
But apparently they're
the guy from Sex Education.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and apparently they're doing a 60th anniversary special with all the new things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go off, I guess. And then my iPad died. And that was...
iPad died.
Yeah, that was awful and terrible. And I didn't really know how to feel about it.
It was a traumatic thing, knowing how attached you are to it and how your world is connected to it. And
I should say it died, but it's not currently dead. It's in a sort of Schrodinger's cat state of sometimes it'll work for hours on end, and other times it'll get into a constant state of not even getting past the boot screen.
Right.
Yeah.
So Schrodinger's iPad, but also Princess Bride, mostly dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so now, over here next to me, I have a Lenovo Tab M10 FHD Plus. It doesn't quite have the same ring that some of the Apple products have. It's not an iPad mini.
No.
That's 2 words, and maybe a couple more if you want to relay the generation info. But this is a Lenovo Tab M10 FHD Plus 2nd generation 10.3 inch.
128 gig. Yes.
1080 by 1200. Ooh, 16 by 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's actually quite a nice screen, I think.
Sorry, 1920 by 1200, not 1080 by 1200.
I translated.
That would almost be square. It's bigger than I am used to.
Yes, so that'll take a little while to...
Just slightly bigger, width and height-wise, but it still feels weird. And also it's running on Android, and it has a whole bunch of new quirks that I will have to get used to.
Yep.
Oh, and Netflix announced that they're making a reality show out of Squid Game, which entirely misses the point of Squid Game.
Oh, really?
Which is that Squid Game is bad.
Yes.
Do not do the Squid Game. And we're all very confused as to how Netflix will drag any amount of time out of it, because Mr. Beast, YouTube philanthropist, I guess, did the same thing in under half an hour, and that was about all we could actually expect to get out of it, so we don't know how they'll make a full series. How Netflix will make a full series out of it.
I must confess that I have not seen any Squid Game because I'm not into seafoods, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or shapes.
No.
Geometry?
No.
Right out.
No geometry.
I have seen Squid Game, and the point of Squid Game is that you should not do Squid Game, and now Netflix is doing Squid Game.
Yep.
Without killing people.
Good.
They make very clear they do not intend to kill anyone in their version of Squid Game, which is a bad idea.
So any deaths will be entirely accidental?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Anything else?
No, the whole iPad thing sort of made me forget all the other things that might have been happening in the past week.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there were other things that I would have brought up here. But I can't, so I didn't.
Right.
Things have also been progressing in the rest of the house.
Yes, it's crazy. We had a washing machine that has served us very well for almost getting on 11 years. And with the size of the household, and the number of washers each week, it has done very, very well, but it started to do weird things and leave odd residues on clothing and like black greasy residue, so that had to be replaced this week as well. So with a new washing machine that sings at you when it's done and doesn't have an agitator in the middle, and it's silver, it's not white. So yes, all of these changes,
and has a transparent top.
It has. The cat is freaking out over because the cat would jump on top of the washing machine whilst it was on.
Oh no, that's what's inside it? I thought it was just a box that shook.
Yes. Can I ask you a question before we go any further? What are these that I have on my head?
Those are headphones.
Okay, headphones. Okay, I'm holding up my phone in front of you.
Yeah.
What is that?
That is commonly referred to as a headphone jack.
So why isn't it headphones jack? If these are headphones, why is this a headphone jack?
That's a great question.
Isn't it just?
Of course, it's all resolved when you refer to it in its proper manner, which is a 3.5mm jack.
But then it gets confused when I say the full name of these is a pair of headphones. Anyway, yes, I, apart from lugging a new washing machine up a flight of stairs through the back door. I really don't have anything. I did have, again, I had a list, but the dramas of the week, your dramas, our dramas, the world's dramas, can't remember. Doesn't matter.
When this goes up, we'll know for certain who the new senators for Tasmania are. But we don't know right now.
No.
We can make a guess.
We can.
But we won't.
Yes. I'm quite certain that the person that I put last on my Senate ballot paper is not on that list. Good. Speaking of when this comes out, there isn't a great deal of point me telling our dear listener that it may come out late, because by the time you hear this, you'll know whether it came out late or not. But the other thing that I forgot to mention was that normally I would be editing this tomorrow, and tomorrow I have a dentist appointment.
Right.
So, depending on how long that takes, and there may be a delay, and how long this podcast goes, and it's already gone for far too long.
Well, lots of things happened.
Yes. Speaking of things happening, we have a movie to watch.
We do.
What? You picked this week's movie?
I did.
You bought this week's movie?
I did.
And now it's on Netflix?
And Stan. As is my next pick, but not the third pick, which has cycled off again.
Right. Of course it has. What are we watching this week?
We are watching the first film in the loosely related Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy, Shaun of the Dead.
A comedy horror. Possibly inspired by last week's horror movie? Semi-horror movie? No,
not even slightly.
Not even slightly. But
I wanted to get to it,
segue.
And I did.
Would you tell our dear listener what we're in for in watching this?
Life is going nowhere for Shaun. He spends his life in his local pub, the Winchester, with his best mate Ed, has issues with his mum, and neglects his girlfriend Liz. When Liz dumps him, Shaun finally decides to get his life in order. He must win back the heart of his girlfriend, repair his relationship with his mum, and face up to the responsibilities of adulthood. Sounds like a fairly normal rom-com so far.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. It's not.
Oh.
Unfortunately, the dead are returning to life and attempting to eat the living.
Isn't that what happens in normal rom-coms?
No.
Oh.
No, it's not. For the newly inspired Shaun, this is just another obstacle. In the face of a full-scale zombie epidemic, armed with a cricket bat and spade, Shaun sets out with Ed in tow to rescue his mum, and grudgingly his stepdad, his girlfriend, and even more grudgingly her friends David and Diane, and take them to the safest, most secure place he knows, the Winchester.
Breathe! Wow, that was a sentence.
It was.
Cool. Thomas is going to open the case. He's going to take one of the 3 discs that are in that case out, and he's going to stick it in the Blu-ray player, and hopefully the Blu-ray player can read it, seeing as it's
Region B, and we are in Region B.
Okay.
So we will be fine.
We would have been fine anyway, because...
yeah, it doesn't care.
Well, it does care with Blu-rays, but there's a override code system that I can tell it to change regions, and then I've got to change it back.
Right.
So, whereas the DVDs, it totally doesn't care. With Blu-rays, I do need to take a couple of steps to get it to read it.
At least there are less Blu-ray regions.
There are, yes. Anyway, so he's going to put it in the machine, we're going to watch it, and then we're going to come back and talk about it. So we shall catch you on the flip side.
Turn to side brains.
Brains, mongrel.
Brains. The zombies are coming.
Open the door and come in. So what did you think?
Okay. I did enjoy the film.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put that at the top here.
We'll pin that. Right.
With some caveats.
Caviar. With some caviar. Some
No.
fish roe.
So, a lot of the humour holds up.
Yeah.
But some of it is from the early 2000s, written by two white men in their late 20s, early 30s. Which is not to excuse the humour, but to explain it.
It really is a boys' film, isn't it? Mm-hmm. When you've got a movie that has... Okay, so you're familiar with the Chekhov's gun, where you have a setup at the beginning, and then you're made to forget about that until the very end, where Chekhov's gun comes in to save the... you had Chekhov's fart.
Yep.
So, yeah, fart jokes galore. And your pin, as in you enjoyed the film, I absolutely, completely agree. And also with caveats. Yeah. I don't think a movie has been shown in this house that has had quite so many F-bombs in it.
Especially so concentrated in some places.
Yeah, it was...
I can take a certain amount.
Yeah, but that was just... It was brutal and quite deliberate too, with your caveat that you made earlier of the 20 to 30-year-old white lads writing this. It was... In
the early thousands.
It very much felt like, let's see how many times we can just pound the ears with this. It sounds prudish, but certainly when you've grown up sort of shielding kids from it, even though you know that in the schoolyard it certainly happens.
Not with that frequency.
Not with that frequency, and done for laughs, basically. I really would have enjoyed that film a whole heap more, and I did during... But there was a number of very intense language-wise moments, and then you got a breather from it and had other things thrown at you that, bizarrely, is nowhere near as much of a problem with me, at least. But all of those things that were thrown at you were done with the same sense of humour as well. It was a zombie film, and it was gory, and... but still done in a way that... I could be wrong, but I don't think I was ever grossed out by that.
No.
It knew the level that it needed to hit. Whereas, the language was gross out stuff.
So, Prometheus, right?
Right.
The climax of that film involves some intense surgery.
Yep.
And this, I think, was technically worse, but I felt okay with this, and Prometheus got my stomach in a twist.
Yeah. Very good comparison. Prometheus was completely, brutally gory, whereas this certainly had its gore, but done in a light-hearted way. I don't know. It never turned the stomach, as you mentioned.
Someone gets absolutely torn to shreds in this film, and I'm just okay with it.
Yeah, because they end up with a leg each, and then ward off the zombies with the legs of one of the group. So.
And they don't turn away from these gory moments.
No.
You will see every frame that could possibly be wrenched out of it.
And yet, there were certainly moments that they left to your imagination. They cut away at certain spots where they could have gone completely gross out. But they cut it and let your mind still processing and the noises. It, in that respect, was extremely well put together. It's an extremely well put together film all up. The editing, the camera shots, the sound.
Spoiler alert, a lot of Edgar Wright's work is very well put together in much the same way.
The opening was very Wes Anderson-esque, with the continual side dolly following various sequences of events that were cut in such a way that it was a montage of various different things happening, but even though you're jumping from completely different scenes, it was shot in such a way that it felt like just one continuous camera shot.
Particularly when we're reinforcing, I suppose, zombie stereotypes.
Yeah.
That there are no zombies yet on screen, but the idea.
Yeah. And you go in, just what you know that this is a zombie film, and so they keep on having you think, oh, here it's about to start now. No, it's just something ordinary.
And some of those end up being callbacks to when those particular background characters do end up being zombies.
Yeah. And when it does start, the obliviousness to it, because of that mundane life, he just keeps going through the motions each day, and because he's going through the motions, he really isn't focusing on what's going on around him.
And gets back inside.
I'm not really a big fan of the genre of zombie movies. I don't really see the appeal, but this felt very much a faithful homage to it. And I don't think it mocked the idea, but still made it a comedy. And that, I think, requires a great deal of skill, and that they really pulled it off. It shouldn't have worked. We've watched I guess a similar concept with Anna and the Apocalypse, which didn't, in my opinion, succeed anywhere near as well as this in doing that.
Anna and the Apocalypse was also trying to be a musical at the same time.
Yeah.
So is the lesson here, don't spin too many plates?
I think so. The script was incredibly clever. I'm not going to regurgitate lines. I do have some written here, but extremely clever, extremely witty. But having to wade through certain things that I found grating, and I could feel it amplifying through the house and going, oh, ouch.
Yeah. Especially those, I feel like just too particularly concentrated. Yeah. That said, Peter Serafinowicz can really do an F-bomb.
The vitriol there was just dripping. But it does remind me that we need to ensure that the front door is closed.
Yes.
So, do you have anything else you wish to say about this madness that we have just watched?
I think we've covered everything that we can reasonably cover.
Yep.
Without going too deep.
I think so too. So we shall move on.
The following segment has no title. Please keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times.
First, I'd like to apologise to Dunkel again for insinuating that she submitted
shame on you for insinuating that.
Anything last week. She didn't. I was operating entirely off memory. And
I had looked quickly beforehand, working off memory, seeming to recall that I hadn't seen anything, and then thought when you said it that, I must have missed it.
Yeah, no, it didn't happen.
Sorry, Dunkel.
Yeah. Last week. It didn't happen last week. This week, I have made absolutely certain that Dunkel has submitted.
Yes, indeed. And Dunkel has. Very close to actually recording this. So.
Yes, according to this, 3 hours ago. Yep. So very, very close. Practically on the money.
Indeed. So Dunkel has guessed a 6-letter representation of last week's movie, which
Something
was
Wicked,
Something
This Way
This Way Comes, as the file name that I stick in our recording device.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what did Dunkel suggest?
Somwik. Somwik, which is wrong.
Wrong. This was possibly the hardest in some ways, one that we've had so far. Except I can't remember what hints I gave last week, but Somwick is not correct.
It's not, no.
No. Sorry, Dunkel.
Helen,
Hi, Helen.
over on Facebook,
Yes?
Stgwkd, STGWKD, which
Right.
is also wrong.
It is.
And also sends in a picture of Mickey Mouse without ears.
Yes. Yes. That is quite bizarre and disturbing.
That is edgy Disney. Yep. We all needed to see that.
We did.
Yep.
I'm just curious as to whether the ears have actually been slicked back with Brill cream rather than actually removed. Don't know.
Don't know.
And then
Entosfratu sent a novel.
Indeed. Thank you, N2 Osferatu. We're going to split your comment over 2 episodes. No, we're not.
No.
Cutting to the chase first, did N2 Osferatu make a guess? I believe.
Yes, he
did.
opened his novel
Yes.
with a guess, and that guess was Wicked. Wicked.
What?
Which is...
Why would you guess that?
It's correct.
Oh, that's why you guessed that. Fair enough. Indeed, I went for Wicked. It's the only thing that made sense to me at the time. So, well done, N2 Osferatu, for getting another one. Are you keeping a tally of these?
No.
No,
not even slightly.
That caused problems last time, so
Yeah.
let's not go there. Because something wicked that way goes. All right. So N2 Osferatu had some other things to talk about, one of which I really want to delve into.
The vast bulk of the novel is about Disney in the late 70s and early 80s, and how often the late 70s, early 80s Disney is kind of weird and out of left field for what you'd expect.
Yes, and named a number of Disney films that fall into that category. One that sprang to mind that is on the shelf, that sort of falls into the 70s. One of Our Dinosaurs is missing. I certainly watched it in the 70s, but maybe it was 60s. You're not looking it up.
I'm not looking it up because I'm busy looking at the novel, trying to pick things out of it.
Thomas is still getting used to quickly flicking between things.
It's a slightly bigger screen that I'm used to, and it does things in a different way.
Yep.
And I'm still proud of no-scoping British Society of Cinematographers when you watched Great Muppet Caper on Friday. That was a thing that happened.
1975.
Right.
So One of Our Dinosaurs is missing. Came out in 1975. That was a Disney film. But it is also a Disney film that is not on Disney+. And that one, I suspect, is because it's terribly racist in places.
Right.
You have quite a famous British actor, Peter Ustinov.
He of the orchestra?
Yes, he does narrate the orchestra. He was also in Spartacus. So, a British actor, white British actor, he played a very caricaturish Chinaman. And, yes, he doesn't...
Doesn't pass muster?
No, it doesn't. Or cut the mustard. Or pass the mustard on the left-hand side. Yeah, anyway, so, where were we?
Yeah, lots of films name-dropped in Entosfratu's novel. Pollyanna, Swiss Family Robinson, Parent Trap, the Herbie series.
Yeah.
Because they made multiple of those films.
They did, and they're on the shelf too.
Freaky Friday, Candle Shoe, The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes.
Yes.
And sequels?
Yes. Yes, indeed. But then, near the end, he mentions 2 films. Can you read that sentence?
Something Wicked has good company in the 80s in the Wait, This Was Disney category, alongside the Robin Williams live-action Popeye, which we derided in
We absolutely, yes.
the previous podcast.
We are not in agreement with your fondness for that movie. We did indeed cover it in Still Under Wraps.
And the very dark and amazing Return to Oz.
Yes, I've only seen that once.
Both of which N2Osferatu highly recommends. We will not take you up on Popeye.
No, please listen to our podcast, Still Under Wraps, the episode Popeye.
Yeah.
It hurt. Anyway.
There's like one good song in it. And that's I am what I am, what I am.
Oh,
what
no,
I am,
no,
what I
no,
am.
no, don't. It's an earworm as well.
It is an earworm, yes.
Oh, dear.
But no, that's about all that's actually worthwhile in that film, because it actually uses the Popeye voice that Robin Williams is putting on to reasonable effect, unlike any of the other songs with his character in it. As far as Spaced, I've not watched the Simon Pegg sitcom Spaced, so I can't really
I have not either.
comment on that terrible disappointment.
It was. Gee, that left us all hanging, didn't it?
Yeah.
On that terrible disappointment, I don't think there's anything else for this segment, so we shall move on.
Pick a film for next week so we can go to bed. It's your turn.
It is my turn.
Which will save me a lot of bother. Although I wouldn't have to shake my Lenovo Tab M10 FHD Plus just yet.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Why does this save you bother?
It doesn't. It doesn't save me bother at all. I've got my next two planned out already, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
you, however,
I have picked something.
Oh. Well, that'll save you a lot of bother.
Yeah. In fact, you prompted it earlier.
I did?
Not just something that you said in passing. And I jumped on it and double-checked, and it's actually on both of our lists.
Right.
So...
Now is it down?
I'm going to play the game.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to start reading the plot synopsis.
Yep.
You buzz in when you think you know what it is.
Uh-huh.
Okay. In the year 2035, robots are an everyday household item.
Buzz?
What do you think it is?
Is this iRobot?
And everybody trusts them, except one slightly paranoid detective, investigating what he alone believes is a crime perpetuated by a robot. The case leads him to discover a far more frightening threat to the human race. iRobot uses a spectacular state-of-the-art visual technique to bring a world of robots to life.
I believe the technique is layers. Lots of layers.
Layers. Like an onion.
Almost exactly like an onion, actually.
Yes, so we're going to watch iRobot next week.
Because, and this is very important.
It is.
You said, I Chihuahua.
I Chihuahua.
And I said, is that like iRobot?
Indeed. And then suddenly a light bulb, bing, my head, and I thought, right, let's just check on that. And indeed, both of us have that on our list to watch.
I've not seen it, but I think at some point I've read roughly how it goes, but we'll see. We'll see.
Will Smith.
Yes, it has Will Smith in it.
We'll see Will Smith. We hope that you can join us next week when we watch iRobot with Will Smith. But until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
You have been listening to Cellulose Free. Your hosts were Colin, who produces and edits the show, and Thomas, who makes the artwork and music. Cellulose Free is recorded in the Deranged Cat Studios in scenic Tasmania, Australia. We keep track of our extensive physical media collection through My Movies, which we highly recommend. You can find links to that as well as other places you can find us in the show notes. Cellulose Free is a Hi Hello production.
I want my brain back.
Well, the cost for having your brain back is your teeth.
Yeah, thanks. I think that's probably part of it.
Yeah.
Love dentists.
In the face of a full-scale zombie epidemic, armed with a cricket bat and spade, Shaun sets out with Ed in tow to rescue his mum and, grudgingly, his stepdad. Hold on. Okay.
Oh, you go so well.
Head back to the start of this sentence.
I'm going to leave this in.
This is a weird run-on sentence.